What's going on, everyone? How about some clapping for the start of the stream? Sergio, I was just reading through the chat a little bit, man. Sorry to hear that. My condolences. Coffee has been made. I've been drinking coffee since about 7:30 or so. I'm in pretty good shape. Yeah, it's rinse and repeat. We have another printer. We are doing another stream. We will attempt to put it together and get a print. Hope everyone is doing well today. How about a weather report? It has been the lowest temperatures in history for this time of year. We hit like 55 the other day, and that's just kind of unheard of for the beginning of September. Today is the first day that it's going to hit 80 all week and stop raining for more than 5 minutes. Tom, I did not get the box, but I have not checked, and I need to go do that. I will get it soon. Sorry about that. In fact, after the stream, I'll run and go grab it. Let's see who's in here real quick. Excellent. So, good morning, everyone in chat. There's a whole lot of us in here. Andrew S., Travis Danvers, Sergio, Sean, Tom, John Smith, Nadavi, Francis, a whole bunches of people. So this is the Mingda D2 3D printer. Honestly, I don't know much about it. I have seen pictures of them. They are reasonably priced. There are links in the description if you'd like to check it out and follow along. They're somewhere around a 220, 220-ish, 300 type of printer. The first time I saw one, I thought, wow, that looks a lot like an artillery machine. So that's kind of what I thought. I'm not actually sure what artillery is doing right now. I know they changed hands. It kind of looks like that to me. But that's what we're going to do. They reached out and said, hey, do you want one? I said, sure. People seem to want to see it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get it unboxed and see if we can get it printing in a couple hours. Cool. Men's Play, hello, what's up? All kinds of people in chat. Nerds unite. I like that. So, what do we have here? We need some different camera action. So last stream we did, I was having camera difficulties with the table camera. I have switched back to the other one because my time lapse is done, and we should have a much better day as far as this camera is concerned, because it just does a better job all around than the Canon camera does for things like this. Ben, good morning from Australia. Simon is here. All kinds of people. Stacy, Auto Build Marlin, question. What is your question about Auto Build Marlin? It is not completely all there yet. Right now, all it does is stage your environment, clean up a few things. You can run the clean button. But it will tell you what board and chip you need and build it for you. That's all it does at the moment. There will be a configuration piece coming later. Gecko 3D. Good afternoon, South Africa. Travis, you are welcome. I do these streams whenever I can. Microtech, you are welcome as well. Checking in from Australia. A few Australia folks today. Awesome. I haven't seen Teresa in a while. She's usually our Australian staple. Pumped for the print mill. I wouldn't say I was pumped. I do want to see it work. I mean, you know, like any other printer. I got to help with the firmware on that a bit. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot, but I got to help. So I have a little bit of a vested interest in it. So I do want to see it. JD, what's up? Bill Steele is here. How's it going, Bill? Here it is. Let's see what we got. Do not touch. It is a magnetic mat. So I'm guessing we're going to get like a 3mm build plate. Spool holder, I guess, but it's awful short. Some PLA. Now that's one I've never seen before. It's an all-in-one USB converter key thing, but it's kind of shaped like a bullet. That's interesting. Cutters, SD card, full-size SD card. We get some tools. I got a couple of T-plates here. I'm guessing that's for the sides of the machine. And a little bit of hardware. So just by looking at this, there isn't a ton of assembly. So that's cool. Vince place from the Czech Republic. Awesome. I think you were here for the last stream, maybe, if I remember correctly. Okay, we got a V6 like Hotends carriage. Now this is packed somewhat uniquely, so the wires kind of run underneath. You do have an adjustable end stop, and like a momentary round button for your end stop, which I've never seen that before. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. But you always see micro switches usually. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Check that out. Hopefully you can see that. But it's like just a momentary push button like you'd see on an industrial panel or something. That's pretty unique. Other than that, we've got filament run out up here. It's a pretty much your standard carriage. It does have 2 Z lead screws. They are not integrated. They look to be 2 start screws. So yeah. There's that. This kind of feeds down into the bottom of the box. Interesting. And then we lift this off. Getting them out of the box is just as important as anything else. There's another one of those momentary. Well, all the end stops have that same switch. Oh, sorry. I didn't transition, but I switched it over. I do want to show you that. That's really the only important thing that you missed was this little switch. It's a push button. Thank you, chat, for keeping me on task. Appreciate that. There's really not much in this box, so all you missed was that gantry, this Hotends carriage, which it looks to be direct drive. It's got kind of a plastic, is it plastic? No, it's aluminum. It's got an aluminum housing on top of a really short heat sink. That's all you see right there is all there is. It does have a pretty good size 3D printed fan duct. So there's that. And this whole thing's kind of tethered and will come out of here in one piece. And it's the, like I was saying before, it's the bent sheet metal box type carriage. And that's all we get. Now, when they told me about this printer, they said that the manual was on the SD card. So we need to check that out. kind of unique. So again, you have these push buttons. You've got one for Z and one for Y. Very interesting. I like them. They're red. But there really shouldn't be much to this. So should I even look at the manual? Probably. Am I going to? Why not? What's the background on the company? I have no clue, John. I really don't know anything about them. They have been around a while, but I've never seen one in the US. So I'm not sure. They have to be good. They're red. Absolutely. That's the only quality that I need to see. They're red. It's fine. Contents. Yep, it's a 3D printer. Build volume is 230, 230, 260. So when somebody comes in and asks that in 5 minutes, you'll know what to tell them. They have a couple of quick pictures on how this goes together. So typical 4 screws from the bottom. You got a spool holder that goes on top. Z motor, filament detect, X-axis adjust. They don't ever tell you to put the X carriage on. I think they were intending for that to be assembled, maybe. But, yeah. So you get some T-nuts for these T-blocks on the sides. So pretty much same old stuff. So I'm guessing these are my bottom ones. I do have some threaded holes on the sides. Yeah, I do. Cool, cool. And then hopefully all these are the same length. How many did I get? This is kind of a... So the longer ones are supposed to go in the T slots. Let's just see how many. So if you don't know which sizes to go where, I just start counting them. How many do they assume that I need? 4, 4, and 3. So we're going for it. We're going to guess that the 3 is for the X carriage. You'll print a Benchy on your Mega Zero and we can race. All right. The head. How's the rail core been? It's been good. I've finally gotten some time to start getting it dialed in, and it prints really well. There might be just a little bit, I mean a tiny amount of Z banding on it. I think I need the rail that's single on the right side. I think I might need to adjust that just a smidge. But other than that, it turns out some pretty flawless prints, I have to say. What's up, Gusner? It is direct drive, John, yes. But what would the stream be if we didn't repeat the specification? How many printers do you need? Hey, Freddie, what's up? But the formula is n plus 1. N is the number you have. I totally agree with that. I need as many printers as they're going to send me. How's that? Actually, that's not really true. They actually want to send me a lot more. I have to tell them to stop. By the way, shout out to Jerry at 3D Printing and Painting, the YouTube channel. He sent me an email this morning and said, "Hey, did you know that your stream was set for 10 p.m.?" And I said, no. So I meant to set it for 10:30 a.m. And he notified me, and that was much appreciated. Thank you, Jerry. PM, AM, 220, 221, whatever it takes. All right. All the wrenches and tools are included in this kit. You don't have to use your own, but I am going to. What parameters do I use for these? Okay, so for a benchy for a live stream, what I do is 2 shells, 5 tops, 4 bottoms, 10% infill, and I use grid. And it's a 0.2 layer height. And I usually print I think the top speed is somewhere around 60 millimeters a second on the infill. If you're using Prusa Slicer, it is really close to the speed 2.0 setting that you would get for a Mark III. It's pretty close to that. A few tweaks. What size are those? This one has to be put in through the sheet metal. If you happen to drop that, that's going to be real interesting. One hour 22. I think hour 47 is what I want to say that's right. I don't remember exactly. Man, I don't like this at all. What's going on, Matt UK? I'd almost rather take this bottom panel off. You know what? We got some free time. Let's look inside it first. What do you say? Nappin is here. Nappin posted some pictures on the Twitters of one of his new builds. I was going to taunt him a little bit, but I didn't have time. I don't care about the benchy being printed. I want to see the wire management that was done on this machine. And Nappin knows what I'm talking about. All crimped. All right, then. I'll take your word for it. You don't have to take the cover off, but just know that I was thinking about it. I usually don't do this to 3D printers. Open them up before we've had a chance to print on them. But this seems like as good a time as any. So I'm going to open it and then not let you see. Is that cool? What we got? It is set to 110 volts. That's cool. It is a 24 volt power supply, some sort of brand that I don't know. They have a touchscreen in here, and they have a board that has some sort of ARM processor. I believe these have 2208s on them. I'm not sure what board this is. Something somewhat proprietary, maybe? Huh. Okay, so I'll let you see, and then I'll tell you the reason why I opened this up. Extreme close-up. So there it is, you know, pretty much standard stuff. Power supply, screen. Really what you want to see is this board. So you do get some extra connectors for add-on stuff. You've got probe ports. You have an ESP port over here, so Wi-Fi and such. It is a STM103 chip. It is a T6, so standard fare. And it does have 5 individual drivers, so they're going to give you 2 for, or 1 for each Z motor. So that's cool. Is there main ground to frame? Yellow, yellow. No. It is just grounded at the socket. So there's that. So why did I open this up? Because the gantry bolts for these are in these tubes. So what I had assumed was it was just going through a hole in the bottom cover, and there wasn't anything here in between this and the top of the top where it bolts into the gantry. That's what I assumed. But when we opened it up, we got to see that there's a tube in there to keep that screw from falling down inside here. So that's a huge relief. So now we know. And the more you know, knowledge is power. Fool us once, we won't get fooled again. So that's what we were looking for. So back to your regularly scheduled program. It's got some brand name on it, Sompon, SOMPOM. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those before. But yes, it's a standard, LRS 360-24 type deal. We might have to tweak that gantry just a bit. I know we can't see in there. G.I. Joe and demonetized. Tom, I totally agree with you. That surprised me as well, that they took the time to think of that. So good on them. Where's the third hand? I always need that. We need to make some sort of virtual chat helper. Maybe we've discussed this before, but there needs to be some joysticks where you can all help out. I try to get the dog to help, and he's not having it. He just looks at me and says, "No thumbs, man. No thumbs." Come on. We need a win. There you go. Before we get too carried away, let's do the other side. There is a plus Y, X, and negative Y, X port. I mean, yeah, those should be end stops. Yeah, so you have max end stop switches, but you also have a filament runout detect on that end one. So you have max end stop plugs. Which are handy pins to have if you're tinkering with things. Welcome to life. Try to assemble a 3D printer while reading chat. Welcome to life. But it makes it more entertaining. Let's see if text-to-speech is working today, shall we? It was not working the other day.
Love the channel.
Nice. It is working today. Eric, thank you very much for the $5. That is much appreciated. The support is now more appreciated than ever. I do have pretty much a full-time employee now, so. But don't worry, she doesn't make much money. She does a lot of work though. That one just don't want to line up so good. It's really hard to see in there. Let's try top one instead. I can see it a little better. Yes, that is Mrs. Riley. Miss Riley has been displaced from her job. So she now does a lot of the YouTube stuff for me, which is greatly appreciated because I could definitely use a little bit more free time. I can actually watch TV once in a while now. It's pretty amazing. And we're turning out a lot more content because of it. I'm back to doing pretty much 2 a week now. The frame needs to be pulled apart just a bit, but it's almost too much for me to do one-handed. Well, it was a good forethought to keep them from falling in the case. But if you take the case off, maybe not so much. I hate to manhandle a printer right out of the box, but we're going to have to get this assembled at some point. Hope I don't tear anything or have a rupture or an embolism. What's going on here? Of course, those are dual start screws. So they're going to take forever. You know, if this thing was assembled and the power was on, this would be really easy. What do we got hooked here? This is our carriage that's hooked. Eccentric Nut is here. What's up? There you go. Way to go, chat. You're getting this done. We work as a team. One. Does it have RGB lights? I don't know. It's a good question, though. Guess we're going to find out. Is there any sign of lights on here? I don't think so. Next step, coffee. Hey, that's a good idea. Guess I should put the bottom back on too, huh? I guess. What else is going on? Coffee is always a good idea. If you have an optimal mode. You own this printer and you know it has RGB lights. Okay. Do you like this printer? I guess is the real question. Ready for race. Alright. There's no I in team, but you go ahead while I get beer. That's kind of most of my friends my whole life. Oh, it definitely looks better this way. Caught it? These things are tiny. When I was young, those were the days. When I was young, about 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there, on into my 20s, one of my buddies, quite a few of my buddies, their favorite saying was, "Look, it's Chris, and he's doing stuff." And nothing truer was ever said. Always doing something. I can't sit still. Comments are not showing up? Philippe has a Prusa coming in a few days. Any tips? None that I can think of right off the bat. They're pretty good with instructions and things, so you shouldn't have any problems there. Take your time, get used to that PEI sheet if that's the one you got. If you got a powder coated sheet as well, be careful with your PLA. You might want to bring it up a couple of degrees, maybe 10 degrees. It doesn't stick as good, and you're going to kind of have to adjust your first layer. Careful with your PETG on your smooth sheet, because you will rip a hole in that sheet. Use your powder coated sheet for that. What else? Anyone else got any tips on Prusa? Pretty much everything else should be just straightforward, ready to go. Prepare to get some sort of gummy bear to eat while you're assembling it. That's good to be prepared for. Alright, I think all there really left is the X and the plugging in some stuff. I really need to replace this tabletop. Plug in some stuff. No I in team. There's a me. What is optimal for this? So this is my Carriage cover. We'll plug that end-stop switch in. You ever get those pains in your fingers that feels like electricity? And you mess with electricity so much, it almost makes you think that you've been shocked? It happens to me. Maybe I'm the only one. You get that too? Alright, at least I'm not the only one. A random feeling like you touch hot. I've had that one as well. That is, things appear to be hot when they aren't, because I'm constantly, like, touching, nozzles that I shouldn't be and such. So this is a pretty easy assembly. Do have kind of a curly Q in here. This should be poked down in there better. But hey, probably ought to have some heat shrink on it, unless it did have some and fell inside there. I bet you that's exactly what happened, because it is on this side. Probably ought to redo that at some point. Yep, we should. One for toward Tarantula to work out upgraded parts printed in Mark 3 is coming. I don't have a guide on 1.4. 1.4 is really close to ramps though. I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there with guides on 1.4. I never really got into it. I have quite a few, but didn't do many guides on them. Sorry about that. Rather keep the smoke inside. "124 miles from your house." Nice. I was watching a thing the other day on the Czech Republic. Unfortunately, it was about World War II and Hitler, which most things are about the Czech Republic I found on History Channel. But, and I'd seen it before, but I watched it again, about this bridge that goes, and all the TV watching that I do is on the TV that I'm looking at chat while I'm working on something, so I'm half listening. It was about a bridge that they were going to, the Nazis basically were going to build during World War II, and they only half finished it, and it's still there. And for some reason, when I say, hey, you know what, if I'm ever in the Czech Republic, I'm totally going to go see that bridge. That's kind of how I think about things. But, that's just me. Okay, so one thing that I have noticed... Oh, nope, never mind. I was just getting ready to say they didn't give us a wrench for the eccentric nuts. Not the one in chat, the one on the printer. And they did. It's right here. Those are bed. Bed's pretty good. Maybe just Yeah, that's probably actually wheel tweak. You're good there. Good here. It's like super solid on the Z gantry. That's probably because of those lead screws, though. Now that they're all wonky, we might ought to run that up to the top just to make sure that that's going to be right. All right. I think the assembly's done. Who watched Wednesday's video and liked the super slow-mo peeling action? I thought it was hysterical, but I do amuse myself. Not sure if you should watch Tom Runaway. Don't watch that stuff. Bad for you. Smart filament sensor. I don't know anything about that one yet. Do you like the slow-mo? This one appears to be trapped by the bezel. Which is kind of irritating at times. Hardest part of the whole thing is getting the plastic off. There we go. There. We got around it. We're doers and thinkers. Okay, you want to watch the screen while we plug this thing in? Probably best. I like to see. I know that's a stickler thing to do, and I'm not much of a stickler. I'm pretty fast and loose with a lot of things. But I do like it when they put the switch so that down is off. Down should be off. I'm just saying. It's doing stuff inside. It has their logo. There are some lights on it. You're getting terrible amounts of glare. It is definitely unified themed touchscreen stuff that I'm super used to. It is ready. Okay. There is some yellow plastic on the nozzle. Let's see. Doot, 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 doot. Those are definitely... Wait. I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to wait for it to go back up. One more time. I was just thinking about this. I just noticed that the captures on the top up here are 3D printed. Hold on. Take two. Steven the Lightspeed, what's up, man? I bet you I still have to home Z though. Can I switch the amount? So I manually turned those Z screws, and I know one is off versus the other. So I'm going to run it up to the top so that I can eyeball how level they might be. That's what I'm doing, if you'd like to know. Because I want to kind of get back to square one. Waiting for me to say race. Okay. I do not have a Cura profile for that machine. We're going to get a complete benchy this week. Well, we always shoot for that. I hope so. You know as much as I do about that. Grinding means it's good. Okay, now I'm satisfied. All of the wheels appear to be turning. I would definitely speed up the homing on the Z if I were building this, but it's just me. Is this the printer that Modbot did? I don't know. Modbot gets a lot of machines, so it could be. I don't know. Jim is here. What's up? Did the bed get hot? It did. Mm-hmm. It almost reached the end stop switch. No, it did reach the end stop switch. It just didn't trigger. You know what? From last week's experience, ooh, LED color. This is an older version of this screen, of the screen firmware. Why doesn't our switch work? I guess I should have checked everything when I pulled the cover off, huh? If it didn't trigger, there's really no use in me trying to trigger or trying to troubleshoot the firmware. Explosion. Gonna ride your bike while the race. Alrighty. I was gonna say that went inside here somewhere. Well, it is very loose in the case, I can tell you that. But I think it should still work. Unless the switch is broken. Thought this was going to be an easy one. That's what I get for thinking. Now we troubleshoot. Don't touch anything in here. I need a cable. I guess we could use their cable. One of those fans is definitely rubbing on the metal shroud as well. It has 2208s, I believe, Sean. So no sensorless homing. Finding a free USB port is the next. No, it is plugged in today. Triggered. Open. It says it's triggered. Maybe the wires are flipped with the filament runout. All this nice wire management sure makes it hard to troubleshoot this, Nathan. Well, I need a piece of filament. There just happens to be some on the floor. I'm not sure why. Well, it thinks it's right. Well, maybe it was just loose, and I corrected it by moving the wires around. Because the firmware says it knows what it's doing here. But before we put the cover back on, yes, M119. Worked that time. I don't know, man. I don't write the rules. I just bend them. So I'm guessing the wires were loose. That's the only guess I got right at the moment. We're going to do a classic Chris Riley here and only put 3 of the screws back in. That way, I know it won't break because I didn't go through all the trouble to put the cover back on. We're going to try not to break it while we do it. One screw down. What's up, Red Light Mike? How's it going? Now I can play applause. We'll play applause when it prints. Okay. Let's go again. I'm not terrible far off from the bed. It does have 3D printed bed wheels. This cover is definitely hitting on a fan somewhere. The only thing holding it on, I believe, are these two top screws. And that is not going to fly, because that will drive me crazy if the part fan comes on and starts hitting that cover. Okay, go again. Worked that time. Okay, back to what we were doing. I feel like I'm turning on the microwave. Hopefully they put... Yeah. Shut down? Emergency stop. They give me all kinds of... All I want is disable steppers. That's all I want. That turns everything off. Okay. Low price Hotends. Well, V6 isn't that expensive anymore. Maybe around $50, $55. Original BL Touch, definitely over a clone. The 3.0, 3.1 have proven to be just a little bit more accurate than the older models. I'm not a huge BL Touch fan, but sometimes you can't get around using one. So they're not bad. They'll get you by. Gulf Coast Robotics. That's one I don't know. Any cheaper? Well, after that, you probably ought to go, like, start looking at Triangle Labs. They make some pretty good clones. So maybe go that route if you're going to get cheaper than around 50. Maybe get a cheaper V6 clone and then get a genuine E3D nozzle. That might be the best pairing for a low end. So there you go. Triangle labs will run you around 20. So probably go that route is what I would say. And how's our middle look? Not terrible. Okay. Now we need a file. Oh yeah, we were reading the manual off that SD card. Now I remember. Slicing, slicing. There are LED lights. You were so right. Why this is so huge is because it's a direct drive. There's a stepper right there. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's give it 2 millimeters of retraction. What do you say? What kind of filament do we want? I got all the Filament stuff behind me. Pink, we did green last week. I still got silver, I still got some blue. I got all different kinds of stuff over there. Hey, you know what? We did do green last week. Pink TPU. Blue, red. I was thinking. Hold on. Let me see what I got real quick. I was thinking that I had some colors over here that I haven't tried yet. How about this? What is this? How about some printed solid green slime? What do you think about that? I also have gold winter as well. What's this one? Blood red glitter. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 choices here. We're gonna do, since we've been doing a lot of Filament lately, today we're gonna do some Jesse PLA from Printed Solid. So we have, these really aren't tight bags, I don't care about opening them. Green slime, right on. Blood red glitter. So this is gold winter. Wait for it to focus and get the color right. Actually looks pretty nice. I kind of like it. It's nice and sparkly. This is blood red glitter. Kind of an interesting darker shade of red a little bit. But it does have some glitter to it. And then We have green slime, which I do kind of like this color. This is a color you don't see very often. It's kind of Ghostbusters green. If it would focus, it'd be better. There you go. So those are your choices. So from now on, the next 5 that I see is what we're going with. So Tom says green. We got a gold. We got 2 golds. We got 3 golds. We got green wins it. Green wins it. All right. We're going to go green. Now we need a spool holder of some kind, because I think I used every one that I have. We'll just take one of these. I haven't yet tried any of the glitter filament from over there, so this is a perfect excuse to do that. Even though we did go with slime, it's still one of the new colors. And that sounds good to me. Booger green benchy. Please tell me this isn't jammed right out of the box. It appears to be doing stuff. Some really wicked yellow that they tested this thing with. Okay, whoever's racing benchies, it's go time. What is that? Three, two, one, go. No silicone sock. And it's not quite as big as an Ender 3. That's okay. Not that it isn't quite as big as an Ender 3. The x-axis is about 2 millimeters further that way. So we're not going to be printing in the center. Saying x-axis is 2 millimeters further that way. All right. That green light is probably going to cause us all kinds of issues while camera-ing things. You know what time it is. Tool time. I don't know why more printers don't come reverse Bowden. It's a good question. Yes, it is. It's like, it's way to the outer edge of that stop. A bin for 3D printer. It'd have to be gas powered. I have to say the first layer looks pretty good though. All right, it's coffee time, everyone. Go get drinks and such. Watch this Vinci print, and I shall return. I'm back. The lines look nice and good. Nice and gooder. Printer in disco mode. That's never bad. I will need to put the rest of the screws in that case at some point. So what's everybody chatting about? The LED is kind of bad. I agree. The PID tied to it is not preferable. Can we turn that off on the fly? We can. Let's just go for... Well, I thought we could. It didn't seem to respond to it. Go. Well, shoot. Well, that's a bummer. cut the cable. What software did I use when I plugged it in? I used Pronterface. Some people call it Print Run. I will get you a link. It is my preferred terminal. Waiting for the filament that's on the nozzle to leak into the print. It's still fun to watch close up, though, I have to say. After all these years, it's still kind of fun to watch the extrusion close up. And it's no speed demon by any means. But it's getting the job done. This camera has been a great upgrade. It is a Sony AX53. It has really improved things on the benchy watching. Is Print Run for... I don't know anything about Mac. Can you get Print Run for Mac? You can get OS X binaries. Nitram needs speed. I don't blame you. Benchy cam, yep. The dirty nozzle is bothering you? No time for cleaning around here. You get them how they come. Print failed. Go. What was happening? It's bridging over infill. It probably does that just a bit slower, yeah. Oh, you want it to slow down bridging. It is very quiet. It is a very quiet printer. Jim, thank you very much for the $3. Yes, there is a bit of sparkle in the slime. Jim didn't get his running zombie. There you go, Jim. I need to add those to this camera angle. In fact, let's do that now. There you go. Now they'll come up in front of the benchy cam. There we go. All fixed. See you later, Gusner. Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate it. Will I build firmware for you for money? I will build firmware for you. And if you are so gracious that you would like to donate when I build it for you, that would be fantastic. It is compile yourself for macOS. Go. What kind of firmware do you need, Ryan J? You can send me an email at brotherchris81.com. So you can do it a couple of different ways, but if you want to do it right here in YouTube, in the chat, there is a $sign, and that will let you super chat. Steven and Jim are going to try it again.
How's the railcore and/or the tool changer?
Voice was speedy on that one. It actually did what it was supposed to do. Let's make sure Jim's comes through. Testing, excellent, it's working. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Steven. Tim's coming up here, and then I'll tell you about railcore and tool changer. And there's Tim's. Thank you very much, Tim, for the $10. Much appreciated. Yeah, it looks like maybe it got hung up just a bit. I heard it kind of clunk on the outside of the print. It looks like it missed a bit. It didn't impact it greatly, but it did impact it some. The outside of the front of it doesn't look so great because it's not pointed towards that part cooling fan. Jim, you're killing it. Thank you again for the $4. So, tool changer, railcore. So railcore is doing really, really well, Steven. It prints really nice. I was telling them before, I might have just a little bit of Z-banding at the top of some of the models. I noticed it on a vase model the other day. And I think the right lead screw needs to be straightened up just a bit. And that is the ZLT model, so that thing's, over 600 millimeters long. And it's kind of hard to get it straight. Tony has a kind of a process of an easier way to do that. I think I just need to go through that one more time and straighten it up a bit. But other than that, the railcore prints wonderfully. Tool changer, I actually got the tool changer spinning up the other day. I'm still kind of plagued by those Titan extruders. So I still am in Bowden mode with the Titan on the back, the motor on the back, Titan on the front, and then I have that really long Bowden tube going down to all those V6s. The consistency just isn't there. I mean, you can get it, if you set it up just right, you can get it to work and the prints look decent, but not as good as it should. Ryan with the $3. Thank you, Ryan. It's just not as good as it should be. I really want to get some different tool heads, some Chimeras or something else on there to try out, because it would make it so much handier to use rather than my current setup. I just haven't done it, and it's going to be quite expensive. So, I mean, even one Chimera tool head if I wanted to save, unless I wanted to take one apart or something, which I'd like to have multiples, but we'll see how that goes. It's just one of those projects that's going to take some time, some money, and I haven't really jumped into it. So it is what it is at this point. It's definitely missing a bit of extrusion here and there. I think we ought to baby step up one. Alright, maybe that was a horrible idea. Because it's dragging in some spots and not near close enough on others. Now see, I heard it drag just a bit. Well, baby step, will it let me go down to 5? Oh, it will. That might help it some. You can still hear it clipping it just a bit. See how it gets... Where's the pokey tool? See how it gets real thin on the infill? Right there, as it laid it down? It did it there in the corner, too. Not a good sign. It might be over extruding a bit. I don't know what I can do about that on the fly, though. See if it gives me anything here. Nothing good. We could cool it off a bit. Let's cool it a bit. Is the speed too high? Well, I wouldn't think so, but maybe. Ryan J, it is brotherchris81@gmail.com. Benchy settings, so just the basic settings for these live streams, I usually do 0.2 layer height, 2 outer shells, 5 tops, 4 bottoms, 10% infill as grid. I'm surprised that Z-Lift isn't on this thing. It's definitely dragging hardcore on that model. Cooling fan is on, but it's all the way over here on the left. Probably not seaworthy. Stacy, I am no longer plugged in USB, and if I plugged in, it would crash. But thank you for the commands. What is my most liked stream like by others? I have no clue. There is no G-code sender on this screen, which that's what I was looking for before. And this appears to be an older version of screen firmware. OCD FPV. That's kind of the purpose of the live stream. So here it is. This is what we got. After a certain firmware version, all of those Big Tree Tech screens have a terminal built in. This is the same firmware, it's just older. The giveaway stream probably had a ton. Yeah, you're right. So that was probably the most watched stream ever. When we did the 25,000 giveaway, I think we had 600 people. So that was probably the biggest one. We've already gone down 10 degrees, and it has helped quite a bit. This is the Mingda D2. Any plans for a giveaway soon? When we hit 50,000, we will have a giveaway. Is there a button on here that I can watch this on YouTube easily? Maybe not. They have a D3, a D4, all kinds of stuff. Anonymous, thank you for the subscription. It is $200 on Amazon right now. Will I give away every bench I have then? Absolutely. Yes, 50,000 subscribers. give away this Benchy. Nobody wants this Benchy. It's not advancing Z like it should, because every couple of layers it starts digging in again. So maybe we need a little more current on Z. Those are 2-start screws, so nothing surprises me. I am going to look around though in this thing, in the firmware, and just see what settings they have changed, because I think there might be a few things that aren't quite right here. Is my camera hooked up to the build plate? No, it is not. I could show the screen and go through some menus, but I'm not going to. There's not very menus on there. Johnny Gardner, what's up? I really don't have anything else to show you today. I've been doing so many streams that I don't have a lot of stuff to offer you. I wish I did. Oh, I could show you something. Where is it? I need to take the plastic off of this. So this, I don't know if you can see that or not in the, yeah, you can. My buddy Dave Randolph over at Printed Solid, I said, hey, I need a Railcore cover because I built the same electronics box for my cube printer that is on the Railcore, same size, because I had some extra parts, so I just used them. I said, I need a Railcore cover that just doesn't say Railcore on it. And he made me this. I still have the paper on the back. But it does say, if you can fight the glare, it does say 2020 Basement Cube laser etched on it. So very cool. So this is going to go on the side of the 2020 Patreon Cube build. And my Patreon folks, we will be doing a whole stream of just printing for that printer soon, I promise you. Yeah, very nice of Dave. Highly appreciated. These guys are too good to me, I tell you. This is Jesse PLA from no other than Printed Solid. It is green slime is the color of this. The Benchy is not looking so hot. We have some mismatched settings here in the firmware that just don't add up. We're definitely going to have to check that out and see if we can fix it. But maybe they have an upgraded firmware somewhere that will resolve some issues. And that's the first thing I will try, because we should let the company try to figure this out before we have to figure it out. Industrial runoff. Something like that, yeah. Do you think Marlin would be a huge pain to set up? Probably not. You might have a problem with the pins file, but you can create your own pins file. It just takes some work. but it's got a standard 103 ARM chip on it, and those are readily available in Marlin. That's the first trick. So you have to have the support for the chip, and Marlin already supports that chip, so you're good there. Now you just have to have a pins file, and most of the time you can find a pins file that is close enough that you can get pretty much any board nailed if you know what you're doing. And it's not hard to learn. They have a pin utility in there where you can turn on pin debug, and then you can kind of go around and you know use it kind of like a probe. You can tell it to turn on, turn off with some G code, and figure out how it works. So yeah, I mean it could be done. Might be a pain, but then you'd have Marlin and you'd be all set.
Can't seem to get runout sensor to work when I turn it on. It gives an error or no filament, and I have tried the different sensors. Any suggestions?
Somebody was Johnny. Thank you very much for the $10. Somebody was asking me about that just the other day. They had a runout sensor that they couldn't get to trigger. I mean, you can troubleshoot that with M119. You should be able to see it. Do I have a guide of setting up Marlin? I have lots of guides setting up Marlin, going way back to like 1.8. But runout. So I've noticed. Do you have an SKR board, Johnny? I don't remember. I know we've worked before on some stuff. Do you have an SKR board? Because that's what I'm guessing. So I've noticed that some of the pins are impacted by the driver pins, like E0 detect, E1 detect, power off detect. Those are impacted by the diag pins on the driver. And I think that impacts some people. If you're using centerless homing or you have that diag pin intact, some of those pins are being overwrote in the firmware. I would have to trace it down. If you're using E0 detect, maybe you can go over to E1 because you're probably not using centerless homing for that driver, or you can remove the diag pin. I've also seen it where those switches weren't all the same and they weren't pinned out the same. The SKR board is going to be voltage on the square peg, ground in the center, and then signal on the outer peg. So that could be a problem as well. You might just try. M119 will tell you if it's being triggered or not. You might just try a regular in-stop switch on ground and signal to see if you can get it to trigger. There's a lot of different things to look at there, but I've noticed some other people having problems with that. And I'm thinking it's probably you've got a pin somewhere that's being overwrote by a driver. The new Mini. Okay, so that's what I'm going to guess. I am going to say that if some of those pins on those detect pins are being overwrote, I have to look at the schematic and the pins file one more time. I can help you figure it out. We can chat back and forth on email or Patreon or whatever you want to do. But that's my first guess, but I can take a look at it further. Sean Butler's here. What's up, Sean? Boss man, you would be much better off if you had one that did both sides. I would look at, I mean, the Fang cooling ducts are a little bit of overkill in my opinion. I mean, they work great, don't get me wrong, but they're huge and sometimes hard to find a good way to install them. Just one that hits it from both sides, kind of a horseshoe pattern, is usually good enough if you have like a 50-15 radial. That kicks out more than enough air. But yeah, you're going to be way better off if you can find one that hits both sides. What gauge wire for a 12-volt heat bed? 10S, 10S5, so that's CR10. On a 12-volt bed, so 12-volt on a bed like that, that's some pretty serious draw. If you did the math on that, that's kind of stellar. So for 3D printing, I'd put 14 on it. Honestly, you could probably get by with 16 if the run wasn't very long, but I'd go 14 stranded instead. What time is it for me right now? It is 12:25 in the afternoon. And perhaps do the PrinterBot Pro as an example. Maybe. I wonder if that thing would fit in there. There's the Simple Pro had such a tiny little board in it. It's really hard to find a replacement. That Azteca X5, the Panicate boards, the smaller one, most of those ran SmoothieWare. That it's different now, but I digress. They kind of fit. They're pretty close to that old board. I wonder if a mini board would actually fit. I don't know. I'd have to look. What city am I in? I am in Missouri, in Kansas City. Henry, thank you very much for the sub. Yeah. .52 is 14. Okay. Yeah, I don't know my metric sizes at all in wire. I should really study up on that, actually. Yeah, if you can get silicone wire, that is the way to go for sure. Ben brings that point up. It's not as easy to get a hold of as I found, but yeah, I can't buy it. It seems like it's harder for me to get the silicone than it is the other hard insulation type. But maybe that's just where I'm at. What kind of music am I into? All different kinds, as long as it's not country. I like most types of music. I'm kind of a older school '90s person, so that's what I listened to when I was growing up. So that's kind of still what I listen to. Would I say that this was a good benchy? No, this is not a good benchy. You want to see a good benchy? I got one for you. I listen to opera. Yes, that's my favorite, and I sing along. Silicone wires on Amazon. Awesome. What is old school '90s? Well, unfortunately, it's 30 years old now, and that makes me feel old. This is a good benchy. And I got so much stuff to do over here. Not bad on that one. That is the first one with no tuning on the Ender 3 V2. I couldn't believe how well it came out. So that's a pretty nice one. Not perfect, but a pretty nice one. Yes, I was born in 1981. Hoping you can catch up. Well, this one, you'll probably beat me on quality if you don't beat me on speed. My sister is 9 years older than me, so she really did me in for '80s music. There's not much 80s stuff that I really like. She pretty much ruined that. If I have to listen to Warrant one more time, I'll set my hair on fire. What's my go-to filament for PLA? So, show one from Railcore. I don't know if I have a Benchy from Railcore. I have a really nice print from Railcore, though. I'll go grab it. Go-to filament. So, if I want really nice, super correct filament and wild colors, glitter, different, all kinds of different stuff, I always use Prusament and Filamentum because I just really like them. Very consistent stuff, but kind of pricey, especially since you have to ship Prusament here. My go-to everyday, use it all the time filament is now Printed Solid Jesse, this stuff that I'm using here. It's extremely affordable. It comes in a ton of different colors, like 42, and you can get it fast here. But unfortunately, it's only shipping to the US at this point. So those are all my go-to PLAs. What's my favorite 3D printer currently? That's a really tough thing to say. They all have their merits. If I want just a printer to print on, I always go back to the Mark IIIs. Was somebody asking about silicone for current load? The silicone, Bill brings up, Bill brought up a point of silicone has nothing to do with current load. The silicone part is just the insulation. The silicone is nice because it's more tolerant to the repetitive bending and stress that you're going to get. Always use stress relief. Stress relief will make your wires go a lot further than constantly bending at that joint. But as far as the stranded material that's inside and you know, how much current it can hold, that has nothing to do with it. Just the rigid insulation doesn't fare as well in this kind of application as the silicone does. Log is boss. Log is absolutely boss. I mean, unless it's a different type of wire. I mean, it could be something slightly different inside there, I guess. Real core print. Let me see what I got over here. This one is pretty nice. This is the one I was telling you that there's just a hair of Z banding on it. And also, it is in base mode, so I might have saw a little bit of flex, but because it's kind of only at the top. But check out the layers on that, if it'll ever focus. And let's widen out a little bit. That's off of Railcore. The camera kind of gives it a weird effect, but the layer lines on it are very, very nice. But you could see just up here, like right there, you can kind of tell. Now, again, it's a little bit Z-bandy, but also this is vase mode. So I could have had just a little bit of wobble on the top there, causing that as well when it was moving around. But a really nice print. It does churn out a good one. So there's that. Haven't seen log in a while, so I haven't used log. Log is right here. You can't see it very well because there's stuff in the way. Log's right here. Nothing happened to it. It currently has the Omnia Drop extruder on it, the high flexible extruder. So I haven't been using it a lot lately. I've been kind of targeting all of my frustrations on Ender 3s lately, but it will make a return eventually. Something I was going to use log for, now I can't remember what it was. But I want to take that extruder off and make it into a tool changer tool. I just haven't done it yet. Why do I think it's Z-banding? Steven, I think it's purely because of the long lead screw. You are correct, though. The linear rail should keep it from doing that. But Z-banding is a magnificent thing and seems to be able to get away, to be able to introduce into everything, especially when the screw is longer. I think all it is, Steven knows what, the rail core design, but just to give you an idea, you've got 3 rails, 3 Z screws. You got 2 and 1, left and right. So the one over here, I think that one is maybe tilted a degree too much at the top. And it's causing, as it comes down a bit, it's causing just a little bit of inflection. I think that's what it is. I think I just need to go back through one more time, line those up, and that'll solve it. That's really all I can think of. I tested the ones on the left side are much easier because you can compare them to themselves. So you can get a kind of a line on one, and then you can compare it to the back one. So that makes it a lot easier to get them in sync. The one on the right is a little bit tougher. So I definitely need to check that. I think that's what's going on. But I haven't, again, time. I have so many printers to work on. Well, I mean, so Ben, current capacity of the total cable, that I believe. And as far as what it is rated, right? The rating, but I think that's more it's not, how do I say this? Well, let me just put it this way. The ratings on cables and wire in general, even like Romex, surprise me a bit. And you always definitely, if somebody is newer to 3D printing or doesn't know a lot about electronics, you definitely want to shoot up a bit, right, to be able to support that load. The ratings on them confuse me some. How is this, that, and the other? Especially when it comes to insulation and safety and things like that. So it can be a bit confusing. I have no doubt that you get a higher rating because of a certain type of insulation, but the capacity of that wire inside, I don't know how much that number actually means. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So that's just my opinion, my take on the whole thing. Is the temp stable on the nozzle? Probably not. Is Sprucement PLA or PETG good to use like kitchen or Sneers C? Well, I mean, PETG does tend to pick up a little moisture. PLAs you shouldn't have a problem with. But PETG dries out pretty good too. So if it does get, you can definitely tell when it gets moisture in it. It'll start, you'll see the stringing and you'll see it degrade on your prints. But you can dry it out in a dehydrator or something like that, and it'll turn right back into normal. So, roll with it. I mean, it should be okay, but you might have to dry it once in a while. I wouldn't leave it out. Maybe stick it in a bag when you're done. Weight of the Z motors. To take the axle load off the steppers. That's interesting. I need to go check that Discord out. I've never been over there. It's a thermal issue. I guess that's probably a better way to say it. Mike, never let the machines win is here. What is up, Mike? Yes, you definitely want stranded. Don't get solid core wire. Poly printer uses heat shrink and what looks like vacuum tube or fuel line to connect the stepper to the Z-axis lead. Kinda compensates for a crooked lead screw. Oh, you're talking about like old school, like fishing airline coupler types. That was back in the day. That's interesting that somebody's still doing that. Oh, printed parts. I mean, after the fact, they should be stable. They should be fine. Then absolutely, everything's confusing to me. What does it say? How far? We're like in the middle of the steering wheel about? The Dragon Hotend? Yeah, I haven't seen one of those yet. Check it out. A link to your Discord? I have a link to like 1,000 Discords. No, the printed parts should not absorb moisture. If they do, it doesn't really matter. They shouldn't. You want to? I totally should have done the applause for when it started, but you can have some applause, Travis, just for you. My slicer of choice. I am a Prusa slicer fan. I've been using it since way back when. Slick 3R. I don't know what version it was when I started using it, but it was pretty old. Single coil humbucker. Now there's a question. I like the split humbucker, so I can have the best of both worlds. I like the 500Ts, 495s, 490s. Those are my faves. What's my sign? Pico Hotend. What are my thoughts? That sounds familiar, but I don't know what it looks like. What's a Pico Hotend? Pico makes me think old school, like old school Ultim style Hotend. Interesting. I don't know. It looks to be a Kickstarter of some kind. Last updated in February. Has it been backed? Oh no, this is really old information. I don't know. It looks interesting. Am I a musician? I was at one time. I guess I still am. Musician for life. But I don't play much anymore. Ragna from Bavaria, hello. Sean Somerville, wavy hand. Trunks at X2 for your birthday? Is there a way to do that in the G code or something? Well, there's a whole lot of factors in doing that, but yes, you can just change speed in the slicer, whatever slicer you're using, and that will make it go a bit faster. Have I toyed with that idea? I absolutely have. I have a K-type and a, what's the other one? X, maybe? That seems right-ish. I have experimented with it. They're a very interesting board. Some of the connectors that they use are not my fave. This is an X type, and then I believe this is a K type. Yes, K type. But yes, I have thought about it quite a few times, and have experimented with it. They're a very interesting board. They really are. But also kind of old school in a way. I mean, you get lots of cool connections, lots of driver options on the K board. It is an ARM chip. But you know what concerns me the most? Is that right there. You used to see that a little more often than you do nowadays. But, yeah. So there's that. It's a monster of a board. So that's the K, and this is the X, the little guy, which is also a good candidate for printer bots that I have to build. So this would definitely run most of your 3D printer applications. But again, that guy right there. So, I don't know. I don't know about that. So yes, I have kicked around that idea before. Please do it, Marlin20. We will give it a shot. We'll see. See you later, Nitro. Is the Prusa in the background a clone? No, it is not a clone. That is a Bear printer. I guess you kind of want to see me point at things. So this is a Bear build. So all it is a Prusa Mark III with an aluminum frame. It has all original parts on it. So there's nothing clone about it. It has the original Old Machine board, runs Prusa firmware. It's all the same stuff you get on a Prusa. It just has an aluminum frame, and it prints just as good, maybe a little better than the original Prusa machines. MPS Mini V2 Prusa Mini like clone. I don't know. That's going to be a hard one. Probably not worth it, I would say. Just to find the regular Benchy. There are tons of different versions. I just go to 3dbenchy.com or .cx or whatever it's called. You got Duncans that fit in the single? Nice. I really haven't fully tested it yet. I don't know. It's just going just okay so far. That X belt could use a little help. Y belt feels pretty good. Sad Benchy. Yep. What did we do though? Did we do? Yeah, we did. I can't even remember now. We did like 6 live streams building that thing, I think. Isn't it though, Gary? You got the 7-inch screen? It is huge. So here's a little inside info. Just because you are all on my stream right now, you get the goods. This is why you come to streams like this. So I've been making a lot of videos lately, so I'm kind of in the video making mode. Somebody asked me the other day, they asked me a question, and they said, would you consider doing a video on this? And I thought to myself, you know what? I will. So not only am I making regular videos, I am adding secret videos in the descriptions of the videos. And I just started doing this. There's only one video like it so far. But hint, hint, we just talked about the 7-inch TFT. So there's probably a video in that description, maybe. But I will probably start doing that more and more. Just a few secret videos here and there. And not telling anyone. You have to go find them. So it's going to be a fun game. Your orange bear kit and black CF, it will probably look awesome, Mike, actually. Black CF on that orange frame, that's going to look sweet. Especially since all the corners and hardware are all black, it's going to look great. What's up, Magnus? Didn't miss much. Cooling is part of it, yes. There are several factors going on in here. I think we have a slight firmware issue. My filament runout switch is also not giving me any help. Secret viral video, it's a thing. It's funny because, like, hey, would you make a video on playing games on that screen? Like, absolutely. I'm gonna go do it right now. Your red bear has black CF. Nice. That's all right. I know you're not yelling at me. It's extrusion problems, but I do think we're getting hung up on Z just a bit. I do. So we've got multiple things going on here. That gets free dozen benchies. That is a great idea. What's happening with the tool changer? No, I haven't given up on it. We just discussed the tool changer a little bit ago, but I'm happy to do it again. It works. It's too temperamental in the setup that it's in right now. Basically, is what it comes down to. I still have all the Titans on it with the Bowden setup, and it's too much trouble to be able to get it to run consistently successfully. The prints turn out, and it never fails or anything, but the quality of the print is not where it should be, just because of the Bowden tube being so long. The Titan has to put so much pressure on the filament during the course of the print that it just doesn't turn out well. So I really want to get back to working on it, but it's something that's going to take quite a bit of money to make some different tool heads and change things up, and a lot of time that I just don't have. I'm hoping in the next, what day is it? The 11th, the 12th, something like that. I'm hoping in the next 4 to 5 weeks, I'll have a lot of content done so that I have a little more free time. But it takes so much time to troubleshoot things like that. And again, if I want to go to Humera or, think of whatever, a direct Bontech Mosquito or something like that. It's just, there's some spend there. Kiersey Fab's having a 10,000K stream after this one? Absolutely. Go check out Kiersey. He has a 3D printing channel. I think that's all you need. That's probably all you need to search. Go check it out. Chimeras are available again right now. You can buy them from several outlets. I just got one the other day. Philippe, see you later. Got a CRX Pro that I can't seem. It looks a lot like the outside bow of this printer. Well, it's probably over extrusion or cooling. This one seems to be suffering from quite a few different things. Also, maybe just a little bit of loose belt. And something that really jumps out at me that I just saw right there. Let's go to the play-by-play. If you notice this. See how far apart those are? That really reeks of sloppy belt. Interesting. Or maybe the pulley is loose. Could be. It prints okay, but just those lines. Yeah, it's probably inconsistent extrusion, if that's the case. Gary, thank you very much for the $10. That is much appreciated. Put 4 Chimeras on the tool changer. I would love to. S42B steppers, yes, there will be a video on S42Bs. I have requested a set, and they said that they would send them. You just said it. Yeah. Great minds think alike. Yeah, it looks that's probably a nice way of putting it. Looks your A6 probably no doubt makes a better benchy. No doubt. I have a feeling as soon, so it's been, I told you the weather report earlier, but as soon as it, this is the first sunny day that we've had in a while, and it's going to start storming later this afternoon, so probably as soon as I'm done with this stream, it'll be back to raining, knowing how things go. Do a what? Put a 6 nozzle on your Unit 3, but now it prints like garbage. So you have some quick tips. So anytime that you go up to a 6, you probably already know this, but just let's just get an even playing field. If you went up to a 6, make sure that you have updated your slicer to tell it that you have a 6. You need to adjust your flow rate accordingly. Your flow rate should be a certain percentage above your nozzle size. Not flow rate. Extrusion rate should be a bit above your nozzle size. So if you're using a 0.4, on certain types of layers, certain parts of the model, you're going to set it to like a 4.5. Others you're going to set it to around a 4.2. That helps you make the layers more consistent and evenly spaced. Also, if you are printing at a higher layer, like only go 75% of your nozzle size just to be safe. So 0.6, act accordingly. And you will probably have to give it just a bit more heat. Now, if you're considering pumping out a higher layer, because you're not going to be able to heat it as fast as the smaller amount of flow. From there, note that if you go up a higher size, now 0.6 probably isn't going to be that big a deal, but if you go up a higher size like that, because of all these factors that I just listed, you're going to be prone to more stringing. So just prepare for that. You're going to have a harder time controlling the flow out of a larger size nozzle with retraction and the things that we use on these printers. So just know that that's going to be more of a challenge. But those are all the things that you need to consider if you're jumping up a nozzle size. There you go. Oh, we need rain in Oregon. Yes, I've got some buddies in Oregon. They said, well, I got some buddies in Oregon and in Seattle, and they said the smoke was crazy up there. Rain would definitely help. How did this get passed from QC for the price? Because there was no QC. Until the heat creep sets in. I know that all too well. No, they dipped the nozzle in filament for me before it came here. That was awful nice of them. Here's the trickiest part of the day. Andy, what's up? Your CTC could top this benchy? Wonder if I have a CTC benchy over there. With a 3D pen? Maybe I could. You're in Eugene? That sucks, man. Hopefully that clears up. I read your instruction. I'm just not going to stop this print. Let's see if I have a CTC benchy over here to show you. Let's compare. Oh, that was not too bad, actually. This one isn't bad. This is probably the best I've ever gotten my CTC to do. 2-color, mind you. I could probably do a better single color. That's off a CTC 2-color MakerBot replica printer. So it's still really bad, just in a different way. That was just for Andy. Is that cooling duct to finch it? Nope. Yes, it is. It is just a bit loose. You can see it, just a little bit of slop in there. Do you want me to adjust it on the fly? I don't think we could tell now. I think it's too high up. I don't know how but that is yellow filament on the nozzle. That came from the manufacturer that way. It has not leaked since we've had it. Pause and tighten? It is very quiet. That is one thing it has going for it. I think we're just going to let it run out. I don't think we're going to make any adjustments. I know that drives a maker crazy. I understand. I feel your pain. But we're just going to let it run out. So what are we going to do for the rest of the day? I know. Work on 3D printers. I'm more concerned about the LED going up and down from red to blue to green than I am anything else. That's kind of annoying. Oh, compared to the Ender 3, the Ender 3 is going to win this one. Hands down. Do I keep all my failed benchies? So, when people sign up for Patreon, if you are a $10 or $20 person, I send you stuff in the mail. And that includes benchies. You get a couple of benchies with that package. And that's where all these benchies go. They get mailed out to different people. And, you know, buddies of mine that have too many benchies already that need a couple more. So more than likely, by the end of this benchie's life, it will come to someone else's house. That's where they go. You like the installing the games on the screen? Excellent. Me, I'm going to be live for the rest of the day? No, not for the rest of the day. Yeah, you never know, Paul. Thanks for doing the stream, by the way, Paul. But you never know what bench you're going to get. You all mail your benchies to me? No? Just a token from me to you. That way you know that you're truly part of the basement is when you have a handful of benchies. It probably helped some. This is definitely this filament um, switch up here is definitely a little tight. Do I still play? Not very often. Who invented the benchy? Um, does anyone in chat would they like to answer that? This is printed solid Jesse PLA slime green. Oh, sorry, green slime is officially what it's called. That's the company that owns the rights to the benchy, yes. But do you know who worked for Creative Tools that actually made it? See, Andy's got all his on the top of the monitor. Mike, I know you probably know all these answers, but just curious if what other people came up with there. I'd say green slime was pretty close. I'm being good sitting on my hands. uh, yeah, it has just a bit of sparkle in it. It's pretty cool. Rep Rapster 3D, hello, how are you? Paul, we were talking about filament runout on SKR and Victory Tech boards earlier. I think we have some sort of pin collision with the driver. I'm gonna have to sit down with the schematic and take a look, but I think that's what's going on. Benchy's not great. No, and you've waited long enough. Daniel Norey is the creator of the Benchy. Uh, he worked for them for a long time. He no longer does, but he is the father of the Benchy, as well as the OpenRC F1 car and the Truggy and a whole lot of different things. And he's currently working on a boat. So there's your trivia for the day. Oh my gosh, there's another Chris Riley in the chat. Maybe he's my doppelganger. Chris Riley from Canada, start a stream, and then I'll watch your stream while you're watching my stream. The Truggy is awesome. That's a great project. He's got quite a few other ones. I think he did a motorcycle way back in the day. I think that was him. He's also, since we're going to look at this Benchy anyway, if you have ever seen this model, which if you own a 3D printer, you probably have, the 3D printed in place crescent wrench, he is also the inventor of this. So, Daniel's the man. One Chris Riley is more than enough. Well, thank you. What speed is it printing? I don't know. It seems kind of slow. I think max speed on the file is 60. He is an awesome dude. Daniel is the best of the best. Naomi is making her own print mill? I did not know that. Can you print from the SD card on Clipper? That is a great question that I don't know the answer to. I would assume so, but I don't know. Existing code. This is my G code on their firmware. No, I am not going to check the belt or the set screw on camera after that, because I've had enough of this printer for the day. So, and again, I know we all like to fix things. I have the same affliction as you do. Honestly, I'm with you. I've got your back. I know all these things and how you feel about it. But the only intention of doing these live streams, the only reason why we do them, because every printer that I have built for almost 4 years, we have done it live on a stream. The only reason why we do them is so that you can see what you get right out of the box and make your decision on it. The reviews really don't tell you anything. I do the reviews, but that has been pre-recorded, and you didn't see all the mess that went into making it reviewable, or how many times I went back and forth with the vendor to try to correct it, or how many times it took me to get a good print. And I'm not going to lie to you in that review. I'm going to say, this took 12 prints, or I'm going to show you all 12. I have done that before as well. But there's a unique value that you get from unboxing these things live and doing prints like this. You saw it just as I saw it. I didn't do anything to it. I just put it together, and we started a print, and there it is. So we do crack them open occasionally, and we did that today. We cracked it open just to see what the main board was, but I was more worried about the screw placement on that than anything. But I don't fix them, because I shouldn't have to. Please. Yes, Ben. So you're talking about the printer mill. I actually helped build the firmware for that. I worked with Carl on it. Just FYI. So I'm following the project. Let's just put it that way. What about people that need help? I actually help them directly. Is that the worst completed version? Absolutely not. I've done way worse than this. In fact, I have some on the wall of shame over here that could put this one, uh, that could make this one look great. This is my all-time favorite worst benchy. Check that out. Now see, today's benchy looks pretty good compared to that, don't it? It can always be worse. uh, and yes, again, I printed that benchy live on a stream many years ago. That's Lowrider benchy. David Olson, thank you for coming to the stream. And in color, so to speak, absolutely. It's not that, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I like to do these with printers that didn't turn out so well. I hate it for the company. I hate it for you all. I don't like to see them be bad, but we need to see it. They can't all be, like I like to say in life, they can't all be zingers. In 12 years, that's pretty good. Other Chris Riley. It can always make it worse. David, thank you very much for the $4. That is much appreciated. Uh, can I suggest a DIY printer? The best DIY printer from my point of view. Now, I guess that depends what you mean by DIY. Do you mean a printer kit, like just one you assemble, or one that you source all the parts and scratch build, like a printer design? Not counting spaghetti monster attacks. uh, that's not a bad idea, Stacy. We could um, we could do a tuning live stream type of thing where we do it on the fly. Scratch build. Yeah. You could source a full bear. That would be a great printer. It's going to be expensive though. I would guess scratch building a full bear probably costs $800-900. The Vorons are great scratch build printers. Take a look at those. Railcore, it can be scratch built. Probably not as cheap as you can buy the kit, maybe. But Railcore is a pretty nice build. Um, just a regular old Prusa build. I mean, they're nice. You can source those cheap. You print your own parts and all that good stuff. You could probably source a Prusa for around $400, and they're nice printers. I mean, that's not the best printer in the world, but you can build them cheap. But probably right now, the hot thing to do, check out Voron. Hypercube, yeah, you can. The Hypercube Evo is not a bad choice. The original Hypercube, I don't know. It's probably a little past its prime, but still a nice build. But I think the evolutions and the stuff that they've done to upgrade, like the 3030 extrusion, is probably a better choice nowadays. Ben, yeah, that's good to see that that they have kicked out more information. Glenn from Fun King is here. Oh, look, a benchy. It's kind of like a benchy. The printer also stopped right on the last print move. And I know for a fact, print complete, confirm. I know for a fact that that has NG code on it to move it out of the way. So maybe it just didn't run the NG code? I don't know. Oh, the BLV cube is also another good one to look at. I really like this color. Oh, now you do it. Printer. Smarty pants printer. All right, we've been taking a really detailed look at it all day, but let's take another one. So this did not turn out well. I gotta say, you can actually see belt lines in the side of it. They line up. And we have blobbing. Some of the sections are actually stepped out where it might have skipped a bit here and there. We definitely have extrusion problems. You can, if you take a look real close, you can see down in here where it was actually hotter than when I cooled it down a bit to try to rein in the extrusion. It just did not turn out well. We were actually missing some layers. I believe we have advancement problems on the lead screw. The part cooling is not adequate. You can see how hot the chimney was there. It got smushed. So not a real strong opener for this printer. But that's okay. We all saw it together, and we learned something today. Big hugs all around. Virtual high fives for everyone. And that's what we got, folks. In stream, bye. I'm just kidding. Okay, so that was it. So yeah, it didn't go so well. So there are definitely things that need to be adjusted. I want to take a look inside the firmware just to see what the feed rates might be. The path to the hot end definitely needs to be loosened up some because it's too tight. The Z-rods don't appear to be advancing like they should, so that will be part of the firmware. Maybe I'll give them a little bit more voltage. I will make some adjustments and we'll try it again. I will not stream it, but if you do follow me on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, Chris Riley 3D, I will post the iterative benchy, the next one I do after I make some changes and what those changes will be. So that's how I kind of do things. If I find something really life-changing, I will post it on the YouTube community so that it goes out to everybody on YouTube. So there it is. Glenn probably said something that I missed. This printer is $200. It was too tired to run the NG code. RC Elite, thank you for the sub. And anybody I missed today, thank you for the sub. You are welcome for the stream. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy it. Weekend. Hopefully you still have a little bit of weekend left. I am going to go... Who am I kidding? I'm probably just going to work on some more stuff. But thanks for joining. You got to see the printer live. Thank you for everyone that hung out all through this stream. Thank you to everyone, especially that did super chats. I appreciate that. That does help out a lot. And just for watching the videos. That's always really nice. So, we will see you again very soon. I have a few more of these live stream builds to do, a few more printers that are coming up very soon. Some kind of interesting ones as well. So, ones that you might not have seen. So we're going to check those out in the next coming weeks. I don't know if it'll be next week. but it will be very soon. But that is all for today. Thank you everyone again, and I'll